You're cooking with butter. Now, if that phrase maybe sparks more questions than answers for you, then you're exactly where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to take a deep dive into the, well, wonderfully chaotic, often comical, and actually surprisingly insightful world of the Bundy family.
Yeah, drawing from a stack of Married with Children excerpts.
Exactly. And our mission today is to sort of unearth the underlying human truths, the truly bizarre relationship dynamics, and some, let's just say, inventive survival strategies.
You could call them inventive within this unique family and, their whole orbit.
It's kind of a shortcut, right, to understanding their very particular brand of wisdom.
Definitely. We've pieced together several intertwining storylines from these connected audio excerpts.
Right.
And as we navigate through them, you'll find that these, seemingly absurd scenarios, they don't just offer laughs.
Right.
They deliver some unexpected aha moments, about human nature, relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the journey we're embarking on together.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the deep end then. How about we start with Al and Peg Bundy's marriage?
Ah, yeah.
Which, you could generously describe as unconventional love and therapy.
That's putting it mildly.
Their whole dynamic is famously just this constant battle of wits, and Al especially. He's like notoriously averse to anything that looks like a traditional solution for, marital problems.
Oh, completely.
So what does their resistance, and maybe some of the bizarre solutions we see, what does that really tell us about love in the Bundyverse?
Well, it's a great question because Al's philosophy on marriage is pretty much like, if it's broken, just don't look at it too closely, ignore it.
Right. Avoidance.
Exactly, which is why when Jefferson and Marcy come back from Dr. Richelieu's love compound and water park.
Oh, I remember this.
Seemingly completely transformed and, frankly, annoyingly happy, Al is immediately suspicious. Like, deeply suspicious.
And what a place this love compound is supposed to be. Dr. Richelieu's methods are, well, to put it mildly, unorthodox.
Definitely unorthodox.
Remember that trust exercise?
Yeah.
Where the blindfolded husbands had to feed their gagged wives?
Oh, yeah.
Ethan Wanker, for example.
Yeah.
He had that terrifying weenie tot incident where his wife almost took his fingers off.
Yes. That scene, it really pushes the boundaries of, comedic discomfort, doesn't it?
It really does.
It absolutely does. Ephraim became, as he put it, very attached to his hands after that.
I bet.
And the doctor's logic was, well, if you couldn't reach out with a weenie tot, how could you possibly reach out with your heart?
Makes perfect sense.
And Mrs. Wanker apparently hasn't been the same since the accident. It just highlights the show's dark humor, and the absurd lengths therapy can go to sometimes.
And then you've got Jefferson. He comes back from this camp, a completely different guy.
It's totally different.
Peace-loving, declaring, love is all I need to make me happy. And even worse, he says, the Three Stooges aren't funny.
That's basically heresy in Al's world. Absolute heresy.
Right.
Precisely. So Al, naturally, he can't let this stand.
Yeah.
He swiftly cures Jefferson by showing him biggin, a picture of Pamela Anderson.
Oh, of course.
Which immediately snaps Jefferson back to his old self, yelling, Mo! Mo is my favorite stooge.
Amazing.
And Al triumphantly declares, those bastards, they almost got you.
It worked, though. That's the crazy part.
Well, yeah, this almost accidental success for other people, it highlights something, maybe a profound truth about human relationships, that sometimes the most unconventional, even selfish advice actually resonates. Because it offers this, perverse kind of permission, or maybe just a stark simplicity that conventional wisdom lacks. It's that Bundy wisdom at its most, ironically effective.
So speaking of advice, Al obviously has his own cynical fix for marriages.
Oh, yes.
He suggests, and I'm quoting here, take your wife on a midnight stroll through the woods, let her ramble on about how everything's your fault. And you say, you're right, I'm sorry, marriage is fixed.
Yeah.
And they'll never know that you were thinking about Pamela Anderson the whole time.
Classic Al. And what's fascinating is that this somehow, unexpectedly, saved other couples' marriages at the compound.
Really?
Yeah, they actually thanked Mr. Bundy profusely, but it didn't work for Al himself or for his mother-in-law, who declared they were busting up for good.
So it works for others, but not for him.
It seems Al's wisdom, while oddly effective for strangers, just couldn't penetrate his own, deeply ingrained dynamics. Sometimes the mechanic can't fix his own car,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so from the bizarre therapy of Al and Peg, let's maybe pivot to their kids.
Okay.
They're equally unconventional attempts at finding, well, love and professional success.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kelly's dating life and Bud's little venture into talent management.
Right. Bud the mogul.
What do these adventures tell us about ambition and relationships in the Bundy house?
Well, it's a pretty vivid contrast, actually. You've got Kelly. She's determined to win over this guy, Carlos, who gives her these really unusual compliments like Mo Anita.
Juanita, right.
But he also holds on to some very, very traditional family values.
Very traditional is right. Carlos introduces his cousin Esmeralda, who he reveals is a nun-to-be.
A nun-to-be, yeah.
And he mentions needing chaperones and even brings up his father, the village shoemith.
The village shoemith. It's quite the collision of worlds, isn't it? Compared to the Bundy's usual freewheeling ways.
Totally. Meanwhile, Bud, ever the entrepreneur,
Always scheming.
decides to dip his toes into talent management. He tries to pitch Kelly and then this other woman, Ariel.
Right, Ariel. With lines like, she has an enormous pair of talents that could use better representation.
Oh, Bud. Subtle as ever. And Bud's office is, naturally, in his parents' house. He's very proud of cutting down on overhead.
Of course he is.
And he even offers Ariel a trial arrangement to seal the deal with some sex, which he seems to think is perfectly professional.
It's prime Bud, isn't it? His unique, if completely misguided, business acumen.
Totally. And maybe the highlight is when Kelly actually fires Bud as her agent.
Ah, yes, the Depends incident.
Right. After he lands her a Depends commercial, she thought it was for lingerie.
Which technically...
Well, yeah, lingerie that absorbs accidents. The show just brilliantly uses that misunderstanding to underscore the gap between, like, aspiration and reality for the Bundy kids.
Absolutely. And then Bud, totally undeterred,
Never deterred.
decides he's going to produce and direct his own workout video. He gets a loan from Moneyland,
Moneyland. Sounds legit.
which turns out to be Vito Capone's trunk-based operation, literally out of the trunk of his car.
And oh my goodness.
And his casting decisions are something else. He tells Kelly she's nothing, just a background dancer.
Even though she's supposed to be the star.
Exactly. And he casts this male dancer, Raphael, as the real star, just, quote, to appeal to the women.
Wow.
It's an almost perfect encapsulation of Bud's self-serving, yet ultimately, like, totally inept ambition.
Yeah, it really speaks to the peculiar way the Bundys approach success, doesn't it?
It does. Grand plans, zero self-awareness, and this remarkable ability to completely miss the mark on execution.
Even when the goal is right there.
Right in front of them. It's a form of persistence, I guess, but maybe not a productive one.
Speaking of money, or maybe the creative ways they acquire it, let's talk about the Bundy Family Christmas Club.
Ah, the Christmas Club, a hallowed tradition.
This is where Al supposedly deposits nothing into an old sock, which ironically is a festive green one this particular year. It's like an annual tradition of financial chaos.
Total chaos. And as tradition dictates, Peg, Al's wife, has a history of spending all the money on herself.
Always.
The receipts tell the story. $500 for JJ's House of Strudel.
$500.
And $200 for a heavy-duty buttmaster. As Peg herself explains, with, surprising logic, everybody knows that strudel goes straight to the butt.
Well, I can't argue with that logic, I suppose.
Apparently not.
And despite their parents' financial, let's call it creativity, the kids try their own fundraising.
They do try.
Their classic is the shell-shocked vet and the blind girl routine, designed to pull at the heartstrings.
Or at least the purse strings.
Exactly, of passersby.
But the real financial twist, the one that truly sets this family apart, comes with Peg's mother, Al's mother-in-law.
Okay, where is this going?
She's revealed to be Butter, the 1-900 yummy phone sex operator.
But Butter.
Butter. She describes herself as statuesque with flowing red hair and a booty that your hand just aches to grab.
Wow.
Just what?
Beyond the shock value, though, Butter's existence isn't just a comedic twist. It's a stark, maybe exaggerated commentary on the lengths a family will go to for survival and, well, financial gain.
So the family then debates the pragmatism or lack thereof of using this money.
Money from no-ma'am friends, specifically.
Right, using that money for Christmas dinner. And Al, ever the pragmatist when it suits him, declares phone sex a victimless crime. He's just hungry, basically, not guilty. He just wants dinner. It forces you, the listener, to question, where do we draw the line? Between principles and practicality, when you're facing the relentless demands of just daily life.
Yeah.
It's a really twisted form of family loyalty, isn't it? Loyalty to the gravy train, no matter the source.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the tension just climbs when Griff, Al's friend, becomes completely infatuated with butter.
Oh, yeah, poor Griff.
The family then has to conspire to keep her identity a secret. This includes, like, instructing the kids to talk dirty
Oh, the
and
kid.
pretend to be butter on the phone just to discourage Griff's romantic interest.
It's quite the family effort, isn't it, to maintain the income stream. It shows this remarkable, if totally dysfunctional, unity when their interests align.
Very true. Okay, from unusual income streams to desired entertainment. Let's turn to Peg's fervent desire for a satellite dish.
The satellite dish. Yes.
She desperately wants to watch Oprah on East Coast or West Coast time.
Right, to escape what she calls central time schedule slavery.
Exactly. She just wants to fit Oprah into her busy schedule of loaf, nibble, snore, watch, castrate, husband, loaf, loaf, snore.
Demanding schedule.
Very. But Al, predictably, resists spending $700 on a satellite dish.
Well, yeah. When you won't even buy $3 worth of deodorant.
Good point. However, he eventually buys a suspiciously cheap dish for $23.95
$23.95.
from Crazy Ahmed, who, incidentally, also sells plutonium.
Just a side hustle, you know. Plutonium. It's a true Bundy bargain.
It really is. And then we get Alan Jefferson's disastrous attempt to install this bargain dish.
Oh, the installation.
They confidently expect it to take, what, 5 minutes?
5 minutes tops. But the biggest challenge, they declare, isn't the installation itself.
No.
It's the 5 heavy staples from the box.
The staples. It's just a classic example of their misplaced priorities, their perpetual self-delusion.
Absolutely. And in the end, of course, the dish breaks. And Jefferson even claims his skull broke. This repeated cycle of, like, grand ambition, minimal effort, and spectacular failure. It isn't just slapstick.
Oh.
It's a core tenet of the Bundy universe. It speaks to this peculiar human tendency, maybe, to persist in pursuits despite overwhelming evidence of futility.
Driven by what? Almost childlike optimism.
Or maybe just a flat-out refusal to engage with reality. It's their unique form of adapting to challenges, basically, by repeatedly crashing into them head-on.
So when we look at all these distinct storylines together, what emerges is, well, a true picture of unconventional survival.
Yeah, and a twisted sense of loyalty.
And the constant pursuit of personal, often really selfish desires, all wrapped in this thick layer of humor.
It's true. It really highlights how the Bundys, despite all their flaws and absurdities, are incredibly persistent in their individual pursuits anyway.
Like Elle avoiding work.
Or Peg demanding Oprah.
Or the whole family finding that unusual income stream.
Exactly. They kind of redefine resilience, but in their own chaotic Bundy-esque way.
You know, despite the chaos and the self-interest and just the sheer absurdity that's portrayed, what enduring lessons, maybe even relatable ones, can we draw from this? About persistence, maybe? Adapting to challenges? Or just the peculiar ways families and friendships navigate life's absurdities?
It's a good question. How much of our own lives, maybe, when you view them from a distance, might contain similar elements?
Right, like absurd coping mechanisms or unexpected sources of income or these unconventional paths to happiness.
Maybe there's a little butter in all of us.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Yes, hopefully metaphorically. It definitely gives you something to think about.